I feel like calling yourself an old soul comes across as very pretentious, but I do feel that way, and I think a lot of people do. And sometimes I gain more empathy for people when I think of them in the sense of where their soul is at in their journey. So sometimes somebody could have their heart in the right place, but they just make really bad decisions. And I said to someone once, but I think they're just a new soul. I think it's their first go around and they're just figuring life out. And they were like, oh, yeah, I kind of do get that energy from them. That's such a good way to put it. And then there's other people that I think are kind of in a middle ground, like they've maybe had one or two lives before, or a few, but they're still kind of in their learning phases. And for me, like the way I would describe my soul is tired in some ways. I feel like I've been here many times before. I feel like I can predict a lot of things. And I was 3 years old talking about why are we eating animals? I don't want to eat suffering. What 3-year-old is thinking of that? I obviously have no memory of that. My mom told me that. But certain things just didn't make sense to me from a very young age. I went through a huge existential crisis when I was 7 or 8 after my grandma passed away. I was looking into all different religions and got my communion. I was doing so many things. I eventually realized that religions didn't really make sense to me, but I went through that at the ripe age of 7, and I think it's because my soul just craved knowledge, but it also had been here before at the same time. And it's not only that, like I've said before in videos, like I was very crazy when I was younger, and I think it was kind of the new life conflicting with my soul. And now that I've gone through a lot of therapy and emotional regulation, I feel more in alignment with my true self. Anyways, I feel as though some people don't understand when I talk about loving old architecture. I actually didn't plan to wear my Edinburgh sweater for this video, even though it kind of goes with the topic. But I love being around old buildings, old architecture, rich history. Not to say all that history is good, that's for sure. But there's a part of me that craves it so badly, and I do not feel at home in modern architecture where things are gray and boxy and it's plazas and suburbs. And there's this one part of me that feels, oh, let me close my window. There's this one part of me that feels nostalgic for it and loves it because it's what I've grown up with, and I feel very at home in that atmosphere. But then there's this other part of me that's like, but it doesn't feel like what my soul craves. My soul craves castles and cathedrals and cobblestone roads. Maybe I've lived there in a past life. I'm not sure. I think I've lived many lives. But I've always been kind of drawn to that, and I feel like a couple years ago when I discovered classic literature and I fell in love with Edinburgh, and I've recently been kind of researching even more places I want to go. And I don't want to say that in this video, but I am moving to Europe. The continent of Europe. People get so mad when you say that. And I'm only saying that because I don't want to say where at the moment. But the thought of being able to hop on trains and explore more, whereas in Canada I'm very isolated. So I'm excited for all of that. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. My soul craves that because I just don't feel at home in this kind of modern life. But don't get me wrong, I love the benefits of modern life sometimes. Like, maybe I just want to get a Starbucks but next to a castle. um, no, I feel like a local coffee shop would probably have way better coffee. But just for the hell of it, go to an H&M nearby, and you kind of get the luxury of modern life, but the aesthetics of the old one. And I don't know, I feel. And then, of course, it's the conflict of being far from my family, though, and there's so much to it. I'm going to make a very clear, bold statement before I say anything, that there are problems in every single country, and no country is perfect. However, dating a European man showed me so much that is you kind of just become conditioned to where you grow up. So, for example, he's in his 20s, and he's at his company for less than 10 years, and he has 6-7 weeks vacation a year. As a Canadian, you would probably have to beg on your hands and knees for 2 weeks vacation. Well, especially when you're starting out, you usually gain more weeks as you progress through a company. I was absolutely mind blown, but to him, he doesn't understand it. Like when I begged my minimum wage job for a week off, I go to Dominican with my family, and he's like, I don't get it, don't you just tell them like you're not coming? I was like, no, you have to ask. And you could never, ever, ever go 6 weeks in a row on vacation. That's unheard of. And it opened my eyes to different ways of living and how normalized things are here. Like, let's say you started at a job here and you've only ever known life in Canada and they gave you 3 weeks, you would be like, oh my gosh. And sometimes we take little breadcrumbs and think we're getting a whole loaf. And it's, I don't know, it's interesting. But it's not to say there aren't problems in other countries, just kind of an example. And I guess that's why I really want to leave my home country and explore. I have no idea what the future holds of where I would want to live. I have no idea where exactly I would want to live, but also like working holiday visas have an age limit and I don't want to, reach an age limit and go, "Oh, I wish I would have done that." But I also just don't think it's good to grow up in, live in, and die in your hometown forever. I think you should go out and see the world and maybe not even just in a travel sort of way, but really immerse yourself in a culture and live somewhere different and see what life is like. Because you never know what can call to you. Like, I work with someone who moved to Berlin from Canada. He absolutely loves it there. And you just never know what place could call to you or where you could actually find yourself happier. And I can't really wrap my head around someone staying in one place forever because I just feel like life is meant to be lived and experienced, and especially through your own eyes, and maybe especially through your own eyes because there's so much propaganda about other countries out there. I remember someone on my mom's side of the family, we had a big gathering. Actually, I think we were at a funeral, so we were all together, sadly. But she said it's crazy the propaganda we see about certain countries in Africa because when you go there, they're actually very technologically advanced in a lot of places. And you just never hear about that. And then I saw a TikTok of this girl walking through her country. I forget which one it was, but she was saying, like, tell me how I'm in a third world country. And it was like showing all the different versions of technology they have there. And it's sad to me that we don't really see that in the media, and it really takes going there, hearing from other people what it's actually like somewhere, experience more places. I don't even just mean Europe, like the continent of Europe. I mean so many other countries and continents. Because I'm just laughing because of how much people hate on you saying Europe, which is funny because if someone said I'm going to North America, I wouldn't really get offended, but I guess it could be different. Anyways, I think sometimes though people just say I'm going to Europe because they're going to so many different countries in Europe. Like if you're going on a backpacking trip, you're not going to name 10 different countries you're going to, you know? Sometimes I love watching videos of people traveling and squashing myths or just showing different parts of a culture that we would never really know. I think the beauty of living in a country in Europe is that you could go to so many other countries and see so many other places a lot more accessibly than you can here, because in Canada, I mean, just my aunt alone is like I think about 2 hours away. So we're driving 4 hours just to go for dinner. And Canada is very, very spread out. And my dad's side of the family lives 8 hours north. I can't even imagine how far I could probably go across Europe in 8 hours versus, you know, Canada. A huge part of that is to play shows in new cities. That's what I really want to do. And in Canada here and in Ontario, I'm restricted to Toronto, Montreal, which is pretty far, or I could go all the way to Vancouver, but it's very expensive to fly across Canada. So I just want to go somewhere that I feel like I have more access to different cities, and even I don't care, like small dive bars, wherever will take me. If I can just sort of start playing around in different places and meeting new people, I think would be really fun. Being a human is being full of paradoxes and contradictions, and I feel like we don't see a lot of that online because people either have to be kind of bold with what they say, so it's clickbait, or people watching the video can't understand nuance or have critical thinking skills. Because on the flip side, some part of me almost wishes sometimes that I could just be someone that could grow up and live in and forever live in Canada, because it would make my life a lot easier because I'm a Canadian citizen. And I mean, with our grocery prices though and our rent prices, I don't know, but I'm sure that's happening everywhere in the world. But it would be nice and comfortable to kind of settle in a place that has always been home and be close to family. But I just crave so much. I don't want to say more, but I crave something different, I guess I should say. And I don't know what that holds. But so many, you know what though? The thing is, you always think you're unique in these ideas, especially when you're around so many people that just seem okay with settling where they've grown up. But then when you read, you know, journals of artists, they all think like me. Like, I am not special in that way. So many artists. I just realized I have one earring and it fell out before the video and I never put it back in. So many artists think the way that I do and want to explore and want to experience. It's almost like adding to your toolkit to make better art and more art. And that's exactly, like, you are not probably going to make the best art of your entire life most of the time living in the suburbs and doing the same thing every day. It's just not really how you're going to thrive. And artists crave new connections and new places and new experiences. So, yeah, you always think you're unique in that way. But sometimes you just feel that way compared to the everyday person. And I'm at that age now where people are getting married and settling down, and I'm just like, I'm ready to leave. So many artists crave community and meeting people from other cultures and seeing different places in the world, and I'm really not unique in thinking that. So I hope that if you come across this video, you can find comfort in knowing that someone agrees with you out there and is feeling the same way. This page of this novel talks about, in detail, the home she lives in, the forest all around which the kings of France once hunted, and the old church nearby. Clear nights one can see Paris. It has an old church dominating a group of small houses, cobblestone streets, and several large properties, manor houses, a castle on the outskirts of the village. Like, please, I need that to be my life. Ordinary life does not interest me. I seek only the high moments. I am in accord with the surrealist, searching for the marvelous. I want to be a writer who reminds others that these moments exist. I want to prove that there is infinite space, infinite meaning, infinite dimension. Sheltered in a delicate world, and you believe you are living. Then you read a book, in brackets, Lady Chatterley, for instance, or you take a trip, or you talk with Richard, and you discover that you are not living, that you are hibernating. The symptoms of hibernating are easily detectable. First, restlessness. The second symptom, when hibernating becomes dangerous and might degenerate into death, absence of pleasure. That is all. It appears like an innocuous illness, monotony, boredom, death. Millions live like this, or die like this, without knowing it. They work in offices, they drive a car, they picnic with their families, they raise children, and then some shock treatment takes place. A person, a book, a song, and it awakens them and saves them from death. Anything, even if I have a lot of trouble playing music elsewhere, I'm still uploading every single day, hoping I could always be an opener for someone who's touring across Europe and kind of see other places that way. There's so many ways to do it. Although I hear in tour you don't really always see the city you're in. But I don't have to have a perfectly formulated plan. It's okay to just word vomit to you guys and hope that the right people find me. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to talk about that. But I have some more I want to say because I wrote in this gorgeous journal. And I have been reading Anais Nin's journals. I looked up how to say her name before this. So I don't know. That's what it told me. And I think I'm going to do that in part 2 of this video because this one's already probably pretty long. But thank you for being here and chatting with me. And I love you, my fellow old souls.